Well, you did pretty good considering all this stuff. Man.
I was a real lucky kid. Hey guys, it's your buddy Tyler coming at you with a brand new video here on My Retro Life. And back in the 80s and 90s, my family bought a ton of games.
Oh my goodness.
We were lucky. One of the chosen few, we found it.
It was an insane amount of games. I think we collected over 1,000 video games, guys, from the time I was collecting as a kid into my adult years. Just how did my family afford to buy me so many games? Were we rich?
Get money for the mortgage payment.
My family and I were not rich. We were a middle-class family through and through. My dad worked as a marketing director for a home theater company, and my mom was a salesperson in printing sales. And so the two of them worked. It was a two-income family, and they did the best they could to provide for me, the only child.
That's $180.
I'm gonna break down a few of these Christmases and birthdays and give you an idea of the thrifty nature that my family possessed.
Look at that stack of games, boy.
Man, that's a lot of money sitting here.
So here you're looking at Christmas of 1990, and I'm opening up all of these incredible NES games. Now, looking at this stack of toys and games right here, you might think to yourself, oh my gosh, this kid got all of these presents and all these things. His parents bought everything. That's not really the truth.
9 Nintendo games?
A few of these games were purchased by my grandparents and my aunt and uncle, who also loved video games. So they had no problem in giving video games as presents because, boy, did they ever support it.
We were lucky. One of the chosen few, we found it. Toys R Us.
Now, the other video games, yes, Mom and Dad did purchase them, but as you'll notice, a lot of these games that I'm opening here are older titles on the NES by 1990 standards.
Punch-Out game?
Punch-Out came out in 1987. Metroid, these are two titles that would have been around $20 to $30 in 1990. So these were a little more discounted. Same thing goes with Super Mario Bros. 2. That was the big hit of 1988. This was 2 years later. Looking at some of the promotional materials and catalogs that I'm able to find online, it's very clear to me that Super Mario Bros. 2 probably cost around $40. Now, all in all, this is still a lot, and I don't want to discredit the fact that yes, this is a lot. But in no way were we rich. My family just came together and made things happen for me on Christmas.
Man, you're making a killing.
Now, with all the games you see here, all of my family pretty much spent around $200 to $300 if you consider discounted games and the thrifty nature of how my dad would often wait for sales to happen. And yes, that's a lot. But it's not like my parents had all of that money and bought all of that. They had help. They knew I loved video games, all of my family members, and so they would all work together to buy me games. I want to actually flash forward now to 1994, when my parents surprised me with a box full of Sega Master System games.
25 games dating back to 1986 to 1991. All collector's items.
It's kind of a longer story, but we got a Master System 2, and then we returned it to KB Toys because we weren't sure that we really wanted to collect for it. But then we kept finding the games in the wild. We kept finding them at pawn shops and at video rental stores on clearance and discount and bargain bins. And so slowly but surely we started collecting Master System games in early 1994, and we didn't have a system.
Yeah, I got a few of those at Kmart.
Now, if you look at all the games that Mom and Dad bought me, it looks like, oh my gosh, there's like $50 a game here. What did you spend over $1,000? No, Master System in 1994 here in America was a thing of the past already. The system had been discontinued in 1991, and you were finding these games super cheap at retail shops like Toys R Us and in pawn shops. I remember going to a Walmart, a really older Walmart location with my dad, and finding a pyramid of Master System games, and Dad got the sales manager to come down on all of the games that were in this giant pyramid of Master System games. They were all $50 a pop, but Dad got them to come down to $5 a game. And so that is part of the magic of collecting games in the early 90s. And if you were thrifty enough, like my dad was, and were really, focused on making great deals, you could get tons of games and collect tons of games at a very cheap price.
Happy birthday, Tyler.
I think they probably spent around $180, which, of course, with inflation, is around $360. So that's nothing to sneeze at. That is a lot of money, but it's not so far out of the realm of possibility. Especially in 1994, my mom had actually just seen a huge increase in her finances. She had gotten, I think, a raise and also a big bonus. That Christmas of 1994 was by far the most thrilling and insane Christmas of my entire life.
Man, the Lion King.
All of those Genesis, Game Gear, Sega CD games, and Master System games, basically all of Sega's games prior to the Sega Saturn and 32X were represented here. And oh my gosh, that was an insane Christmas, guys.
Look at that. Look at that stack. Oh my God, it's enough to make a grown man cry when he gets the bill.
I actually asked my mom, I said, Mom, recently, I talked to her and I said, Mom, how did you and Dad afford all of those games in Christmas of 1994? How did I get that many? And she said, that was the year that I'd received a major bonus. She was doing really well in her printing sales business that she worked as a salesperson. And so I think that they just collectively, Mom and Dad, just decided, you know what, rather than maybe buy something for themselves with that bonus money, they wanted to give me an amazing Christmas.
Honey,
I said, I didn't know you bought 4 of them.
I'd say we spoiled this boy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I can't thank them enough. I just, just talking about this, I want to be candid with y'all. It really is incredibly special to me to just think about what my mom and dad provided for me. As I'm raising my daughter with my wife, as we reflect back on our own childhoods, we need to make sure that we are providing for my daughter the way that our parents provided for us. Thank you, Mom, and thank you, Dad. Well, that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully this video explained a little bit further as to how my parents and my family, my extended family, my grandparents came together, were thrifty, made the right choices, found the right sales, and were able to give me all the crazy games and all the things that I wanted. As an only child, I was spoiled for sure. But you know what? I was forever grateful. Even back then, I never took it for granted. If this is your first time here on My Retro Life, thank you. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching to this point of the video. If you could, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. I love talking about my game crazy family growing up in the 80s and 90s and looking back on those nostalgic days. I can't wait to show you what I have next. All right, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.